helping us, partnering the Ghanawara Times to put this pre-election forum on for the local government election. Welcome candidates, members of the public, and to the 2020 Gannawarra Shire pre-election forum for the local government elections. Tonight, you'll have the opportunity to hear from the majority of candidates in the Patchell and Murray wards, as well as you'll hear from the single candidate from the Avoca ward, Charlie Gillingham. There's only one candidate that can't make it tonight, so it's fantastic to see so many candidates here and a real representation for the new council. This will give Gannawarra Shire residents the opportunity to actually listen to candidates, speak firsthand of their goals and aspirations if elected as councillors. This forum will inform voters prior to casting their vote in the election by 6 p.m. on Friday, October the 23rd. So we'll be looking firstly at the Murray ward candidates. There's two Murray candidates that will be speaking tonight. We will talk briefly about the other candidate who can't make it, Steve Tasker, who's the candidate not attending. We'll give him a little bit of coverage. We won't give him a whole heap. And then we'll be going to the Avoca duly elected councillor, pre-election candidate, who will be elected as the councillor, as he is the single only nomination. And then we'll be going to Patchell with the 7 candidates for the Patchell ward. So just reiterating what Megan said, it's 3 minutes. Each candidate will speak for 3 minutes. There'll be a warning at 2.5 minute mark, and there'll be approximately 30 minutes of questions via the chat at the end, which I will moderate and direct. We will and any questions that we miss, we will cover in the Gannawarra Times in the next issue. So we're hoping for around about an 8 p.m. or 8:15, 8:20 sort of finish. So first of all, we'll concentrate on the Murray ward in representing the Corndrook Murrabit area, where one councillor will be elected. And first of all, we'll talk to we'll hear from Yvette Mile, who's the Murray candidate. She lives in Murrabit. She chose to live there. I was looking at some of her dot points in the Electoral Commission information and also other information that was provided. She chose to live in Murrabit because of the strength of the community and the beauty of the area, and she has a range of different things. She's the current Swan Hill Town Hall events and venue manager, and she has a high level of experience in state and local government and in national industry advocacy. She's the president of the Daycare Centre Board and a participant in the Murray Darling Association Leadership Program. And she will tell us all about the things that she will stand for, the goals that she will have if elected to council in the Murray ward. I introduce Yvette Myhill.
Thank you, Rob. I'm just going to run through a little bit about myself. As Rob mentioned, my name's Yvette. I live locally here in Murrabit. I'm going to give you a quick background on me that's not in my campaign statement before I move on to those campaign messages. But I started my career in corporate finance and insurance. I studied accounting at uni in Albury. I worked as an accountant with the Australian Chamber Orchestra. I then went on to work on major commercial music festivals such as Splendour in the Grass, Big Day Out, Home Bake and the like. I worked with Broadway musicals and then worked on large international touring shows, including with artists such as Bon Jovi, Aerosmith, Roger Waters, Lionel Richie, bunch more. Following that, I took on the exec role at a key national industry peak body within the music industry, where I travelled locally and internationally, training and mentoring managers and speaking on numerous business conference panels. This role also had a large degree of advocacy work at a federal and state level. Prior to leaving Sydney for Murrabit, I was managing the music and festivals portfolio for the New South Wales state government. Now, you're probably thinking, the same as most people I speak to about this, why on earth Murrabit? I'd achieved quite a lot in my career, as you've heard. I'd had some amazing knowledge. I've got plenty of useful contacts, and I started feeling a little kind of a real sense of responsibility to give back some of that experience in a meaningful way. I'd been considering a country change, being a country girl and with family still in rural New South Wales, and I kept circling back to this idea that I could do something in a regional area. So I started looking around for work opportunities, and it was luck that brought me this way. Now I have a small house by the river, a lovely partner, and a beautiful young son named Banjo, who's doted on by his adoring grandparents, which are Jenny and Greg McNeil, which many of you I'm sure would know. I'm still a businesswoman. I'm on the board of the local daycare, and I've just joined the board of the Kundruk pool, but I still haven't quite filled that need to give something back. I've been following along with the council media releases and a lot of the social media posts, and I thought to myself, I think I can bring a fresh perspective as well as my unique experience to the table.
30 seconds.
Now, I'd like to talk about some of the key things my campaign is about. One is water. Our farmers need water, easy as that. The current water situation is untenable. Every farmer in our Shire knows it. I'd like to stand up and ask the council to stand up with me and speak loudly in support of our farmers. Two is COVID. Sorry for the poor language here, but how shit is it? Unfortunately, it's only going to get worse before it gets better. Some of our local industries have been so badly affected by this that they may not be able to reopen. We need more small business here, not less. We need bustling main streets, not empty shop fronts. I think the council definitely has a role to play, not only in supporting local business, community groups and our local events, but also in encouraging visitors. The third is our local health services. They need more support. We've got great facilities in Korea and Kahuna, but not enough medical professionals. And if you add in the extra pressures that COVID has placed on our local medical legends, it's too much. Council can play its part in improving the livability of our area for future doctors and specialists, but that might come to call our region home, but they can also speak up more in support of our amazing local services. I'm really looking forward to the questions that the public have to provide to us tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Yvette. Well spoken. Your other details about Splendour in the Grass and all of your experience in music is very, very interesting, and due credit to you. There will be plenty of questions for you, I'm sure. When the questions are touted at the end of this forum. So thanks for your short presentation. Now we'll briefly talk about Steve, who is our missing candidate tonight. We'll make it brief because he is missing. He had a prior engagement. Steve is a sitting Murray candidate. He actually joined the council in October 2016. He lives in Kundruk and has lived there for over 35 years. He has a mechanical business. He's a former teacher, and he volunteers in the SES at New South Wales in Barron. He's a councillor that is very quietly spoken, and he's probably the quietest councillor that anyone's ever seen. But on his watch, since 2016, the Kundruk, there's been lots of developments from council in relation to the Kundruk area, and he's looking to represent the Murray ward with around access to recreation in parks for the disabled, and is very interested in tourism, and he's also involved with the local Indigenous community. So he's looking to extend those issues into council, as he's actually been in council for the last 4 years, and they have been his major priorities. And that's Steve. So we'll leave it there for Steve, and we wish him well in the Murray Ward Council election. We'll now go to Ross, who is in attendance. Ross Stanton. Ross has lived in the Ghanawara area for all his life, but for 6 years of military service, and he might want to tell us a little bit about that. He worked for Goulburn Murray Water for 30 years and is the manager of the Turrumbry irrigation area for the last 9, giving him a lot of experience with councils and with change management. We were talking about football to Ross earlier. He is on the Central Rivers board member of Football Netball League, and I won't steal his thunder, but he's a quite accomplished Gannawarra citizen. So I introduce Ross Stanton. We got him there?
I can't even live up to that with my technology skills, so I'm in trouble already. Thank you for that. I suppose, why am I running for council? The short answer to that is, like most of us here tonight, I believe I can add value to our communities. This is a way of paying back to communities that has provided for me over the time. I'm now semi-retired from Goulburn Murray Water, do a little bit of casual work for them. I have more time to give back to the local community. Always believe that you can't just take, you have to give something back for those and work for others. In my career with Goulburn Murray Water, it's allowed me to develop a broad range of skills. I'm a level head, I believe. I like to focus on issues and results and not on personalities. I think that's important in the new council, that we act as a team. All of us here standing have, different backgrounds, and we'll bring a lot of different backgrounds and opinions to the council, which is a good thing. It broadens the council's knowledge and experience. A good council should be able to debate all the issues, and then, as democracy decrees, take a vote on that, stand behind those votes, explain it to our communities. If we can't manage to explain those decisions to them, we probably didn't spend enough time in the first place working through them. One of the first tasks in front of a new council is the council's 5-year plan, with the current plan finishing next year. It's got a lot of great thoughts and ideas in it, and some of these have made their way to reality. And I think the council should be congratulated for those achievements. Also note, and one of the issues that's been noted with the council, the plan talks about communication, taking communities on the journey, being engaged with communities. And I think this is a key for any council. We represent our communities. We need to be engaged with them. We won't always be able to provide exactly what they want, but we should be able to show and explain how we've listened and worked hard to get the best result possible. The basin plan and government commitments to water recovery will go on. Council can and should play a role in advocating for our irrigators and communities with state and federal governments, but more importantly, we need to support our farming communities as they transition to new and innovative farming practices. I want to be a part of a council that works towards improving the Shire and residents' lives through better roads, social welfare, community hubs and resources. A council that looks to the future, looks to ways to attract and keep new residents and businesses, while supporting those already established businesses that contribute to the Shire now. We're a large Shire, but small in population numbers. Getting the balance right will require us to work together, managing budgets and cost effectively to ensure we're accountable to all the ratepayers and residents. I think my career with Goulburn Murray Water, and one of my goals will be to ensure that we are accountable, we do manage our budgets accordingly, and do provide good outcomes for our residents. Thank you.
Wow, that was perfectly timed, Ross.
Well done, Ross. Thanks for your input. Megan, do we have Charlie with us?
Jenny has just ringing him now. I've texted him as well. He's not
we'll defer Charlie to the end. We'll do a voker at the end. We will forge on to the Patchell board. which is around the Kerrang, Mokoena and Hawfield area. 3 councillors to be elected. We have 7 candidates. Our first candidate is Kelvin Burt. And has he clicked on yet, Megan?
Yes, Kelvin's here.
Kelvin's there.
Yeah, he can unmute. There we go.
So what I'll do, I did get a comment on privately on here to say less introduction, and I'll do that. But I would expect that each candidate from now on will now just tell a little bit about themselves, even though people will have seen the material already out on each candidate. So I introduce Kelvin Burt.
G'day, I'm Kelvin Burt, and as you know, I'm standing for the Patchell ward. I've decided to have a go at this because I've been living and working in Ghanawara all my life. I've lived at Mead, Croup, Murrabit and Kerrang. I've worked in many industries, hotel work. I've been a contractor by myself a few times. I know the area, I know its needs. I think at the moment we're all going for council for one reason. We all see a problem in there at the moment. It seems to be fractured. Now, what do we do to change it? Well, hopefully with the new council, we can have better ideas and we get along a bit better. I think that'll be the main thing. If I get into council, I'm not promising the world. All we can do is vote on things as their merit and what comes up. There's no use saying I'm going to build better roads and do all this because I can't do that. I need 3 other people to vote with me to get anything through council. So I can't promise much, only that I will work for the community. And we need to consult with our community better. That's always been a problem lately with council. Why was the survey saying with so much disunity to this council all of a sudden? We've gone from a top rating council to one of the bottom rating councils. Why? Where is the problem? These are questions that have got to be answered. Farmers, they're a golden part of our community. And I don't think they've had enough voice in council for a long time. I had a councillor ring me the other day and said, farmer, sorry, not a councillor. And he said, in the last 4 years, there hasn't been one Patchell councillor tried to call a meeting and get the farmers in and hear their views. Great idea, I said. That is a great idea. Now, I'm a loyal person. I've been employed by Mawson's for over 25 years and I've been part of Progress Association for the last 6 years. Now, we've got a lot of great events going in Kerrang. We've got the Show and Shine event, which started from Progress Association. We have got the Toy Run, which originally started at Progress Association. And we have the New Year's Eve party in the park. Now, that just shows that I am committed to the community. They're all projects and have got off the ground since I've been president of the Kerrang Progress Association. I'll work hard for our voters. Anything that's asked of me by anyone in the community, I will take it to council and I will ask the question. And hopefully we can get an answer from council for them. If we can't give them an answer that night of a question, well, let's give a written result. We've got to communicate with the people better. Development. I think Kerrang's Patchell ward has missed out a little bit on the development side of things. And we've got to adopt a yes, we can attitude, because I've asked about different development here in Kerrang and you just get told no straight up. No waterfront development for Kerrang. Well, hang on, we're a council that built a wharf on the Murray River and they say we can't do waterfront development in Kerrang. Why not? I just think there's a bad attitude there about our ward here in Kerrang. Water is a big issue for farmers, but we can't do a lot as a council. So all we can do there is keep writing in and submitting to the Murray-Darling Basin, basically. But hopefully as a council, we keep doing that for the farmers.
Thanks.
That's time, Kelvin. Thank you. Thanks for your presentation. There will be questions. I'm sure that that people will have questions for Kelvin. and thanks for your presentation tonight, Kelvin. Our next candidate, our second candidate on the ballot for Patchell is Rodney Hibbert. Rodney lives in Lake Charm and runs a machinery business in Kerrang. So I'll introduce Rodney Hibbert.
Yeah, that's no worries. Is it working properly?
Yep, you're fine.
Right. Now, my position on council is that I see that there's a lot of opportunities coming up with this COVID thing and all that. It's actually created a opportunity in our area because of our cleanliness. And I feel that we need to build on that. Also, I feel our industries in the area have not had fair go in the fact that we seem to be trying to get more industries into the area, but we don't seem to be wanting to improve the industries that are already here. And I feel that they're getting left behind a bit. My background is that I was actually on the Bar Creek Committee. I was a councillor some years back and actually was on the initial council setup. I was also on the initial setup of the regional waste and those sides of things. And also the council that I covered was Murrabit and not Murrabit, McCorner and that area, which is very sad to look at now. And I think there's a lot of opportunities even in the farming sector out that way that can be improved. And I'm just here because I have a business in Kerrang and my business relies on farmers and people in Kerrang. So if I can't make Kerrang work properly, then my business won't work properly. And that's my main thing. It's a cause to try and improve my business as well as improve the Ghanawara and the Kerrang area. And that's what I'm standing for. And I want to listen to people's opinions and go forward from there. So that's the basis of my whole approach to why I'm standing for council. And I feel that that it needs some new blood into council to get some new ideas forward and to stop hanging behind. That it? Yeah.
Thanks, Rodney. Thank you. Our next candidate is Neil Gannon. Now, Neil had the distinction of being the first one on Zoom tonight. He was technically very savvy and ready to go before even the organisers. So congratulations for that, Neil. And your next cab off the rank, you're the third on the ballot paper for Patchell Ward.
Am I set? G'day, my name's Neil Gannon. I previously served on the council for 2 terms as the ward councillor for the Avoca ward. From 2008 to 2016, I didn't seek re-election in 2016. My wife Alvia and I have been residents of the Shire for almost 47 years, in business in the area, with two businesses and an administration job which I had for about 14 years. Our kids have grown up in this area and attended school and gone on to much better things in their own careers. Alvia and I have both been involved in service clubs. We've delivered Meals on Wheels for around 30 years, and in 2016 we relocated from Kangaroo Lake to Kerrang. During my time as a ward councillor, we saw new and refurbished toilet blocks at Kangaroo Lake, walking tracks at Kangaroo Lake and Lake Charm, the building of the finishing of the Tresco Benjaroop Road, the new weir at Combatook, and the commencement of the Benjaroop Bridge. For any councillor to say, I will do this, or I will do that, or I did it, is completely wrong, as no one councillor can do anything unless he's got the backing of the consensus and backing of the majority of the councillors to get anything done. I suggest the happenings of the past 3 years have cast a dark shadow over council. I've been approached by several ratepayers to consider standing for as a councillor for the Patchell ward, which I am now doing. I have no access to grind, nor hidden agendas, nor political preferences, just a desire to make sure that this town goes along well. We're all aware of the disastrous effect that COVID-19 has had on our community. I feel confident that when this is over, we're going to emerge a lot wiser and stronger. For the first-class hospital, we still have we have excellent amenities, but we have trouble getting GPs to come here permanently. This problem is not confined to town alone. I believe that with the help of the government, this could be overcome. We've got two main assets, which I think are in our favour: the junction of two highways and railways, which are all the railways are very underutilised at this point of time. I believe that when we come through this emerge from the COVID-19, we're going to have a lot of work in front of us to bring it up, to get up and running again, but we may lose some on the way. If elected, I pledge to support you in any way I can. Thank you.
Thank you, Neil. Thank you. We're motoring through the candidates for the Patchell ward. We're now up to Jenny Fawcett. She's the fourth person on the fourth candidate on the Patchell ballot. So I introduce Jenny Fawcett.
Absolutely. Good evening, everyone. The first thing I would like to say is congratulations to everyone who is nominated. It's really great to see so many people running for council. That's fantastic. As said, I'm currently on the council for Patchell ward, and I have thoroughly enjoyed that time. It's been a very big learning curve for me, but I've gained a good grasp on how things work. I'm a mother of 3. I'm also an early childhood educator and run a business. We've also ran businesses with our family-run business, and my husband is involved in farming. So we have a good grasp on what is going on in the community. We've been involved in schools and churches and quite a few community groups. And with my involvement in council, I'm quite busy. It has been wonderful to see what this council actually has been able to achieve. I came in at a time when 2 councillors had obviously resigned, which everyone knows. Whether that was how it's been put forward is another thing. We've had COVID, and so the council has not really been able to get face to face with the people too much in the last 6 to 7 months. But I have found it exciting to see what the future holds for this region. I think we are on the precipice of some amazing things with new jobs, new industries coming our way, and as a community, not just as a council, because it's about community and council working together. It's not just about council doing it. As a community and council working together, we have an amazing future in this region. Get in your car and drive around some of the amazing things that have been done and the amazing things that just about ready to happen. I'm personally very excited, and I've got running for council because I really want to see it happen. I'm quite excited, and I would like to be there and see some of these things come to fruition. And that's why I'm running for council.
Thank you, Jenny. Thank you. We're now up to our 5th candidate for the Patchell ward, Paul Donovan. Paul is a relative newcomer to Kerang. He moved with his family to Kerrang at the start of 2020. So I introduce Paul Donovan.
Can you unmute, Paul?
Yes, mute. Can you hear me now?
Yep. Thanks, Paul.
That was my practice run. Firstly, I just want to say I'm very impressed by the caliber of the candidates running, and I think that's very good for local democracy. And I'd love to hear a lot of these ideas and the suggestions people are putting forward, because that does give me confidence in the future of Kerrang and the surrounding area. It also makes it a lot more challenging. I never expected it to be this competitive, particularly looking at previous election results. I guess if I were to explain why I'm running for council, it is a bit difficult to explain, other than to say that I had a very deep-seated instinctual reason for wanting to get back onto council. I was a councillor for Dandenong for about 12 to 14 years, as well as the mayor of that municipality. And when I moved to Robinvale about a year ago, I just really felt that I wanted to get back involved in local government. And having moved from the suburbs to the country, one thing that I was quite shocked at was the parlous state of many very important roads. And I was quite shocked to think that that this is really the heart of Victoria, as well as the breadbasket for much of Australia. And to think that the truckies and the tourists and everyone else that works and lives out here and must commute this way has to go along on such bad roads, or roads that weren't as good as I expected. And so I think that's one reason that I was compelled to do it. But even other things, such as the fact when I moved into Kerrang, I was surrounded by some really great people, and I got a very good feeling about being in the town. I was quite impressed by the municipal history and the connection with the agriculture and the retail and the other sectors. So I really felt I wanted to be part of that and continue on in that tradition. I think one of the main issues that people have already spoken about, and which is starting to occur to me, is the land use planning, particularly when it comes to farmers that own allocations of land and just using that land for water rights. And also what's happening in the Macorna Township. That seems like an unusual situation with the allocation of land and how that land is being used. Of course, I'd like to see tourism promoted to the area. It looks like a great place to come and spend time and to breathe, get away from Melbourne. And I'd love to just be part of the democratic process. So if I can get involved, it'd be trying to make council as democratic and transparent as possible. Yeah, so I'm still learning about the local community, and definitely keen to hear the local residents give me their views, and I'll be happy to take them on board in terms of advocating on behalf of our community to get the best deal we can for Ghanawara.
Thanks, Paul. And I noticed that you, I didn't see anyone else's Instagram account. Paul has an Instagram account in relation to his candidacy, and you can also get his material on Twitter. So it's at Paul Donovan 2020. Is that right, Paul? You might
yes, correct.
Thank
That's
you,
correct.
Paul.
You're welcome.
Our sixth of 7 candidates for the Patchell ward is Travis Collier. And I'll introduce Travis.
Thank you, and good evening, viewers. Thanks for having me. So I was born and raised on the main streets of Keysborough, which are in southeast suburbs of Melbourne. And about 9 years ago, myself and the family, wife and 3 daughters, decided to take a tree change and come to Kerrang. And I must say, we were pleasantly surprised by the welcome we got from the community. It made us it was a seamless entry into the community. And as such, I've been engaged in school councils and netball club presidents and things like that, which go hand in hand with my community engagement role for my 9-to-5 job. So through that, I've established partnerships with our Indigenous communities, our schools, our aged care facilities, and the feedback I've been getting from them is, Travis, put your name up for council. So I've done that. I've taken on the challenge, and I'm looking forward to it. I think the Ghanawara Shire is a great place to live, fantastic place to visit. We've got so many natural attractions here. And I think after the negative of COVID, we can really cash in on the way out with attracting people to the area. There'll be a lot of people in Melbourne now who are sick of being locked down, want to get out, want to get the fresh air, want to go fishing, camping, hunting, whatever it may be, skiing, beautiful lakes up here, the river. People who used to holiday Hamilton Island, now can come to Ghanawara Island and visit there instead, you know. And same with businesses, you know, businesses might want to move out of the city. Come to the Gannawarra Shire, come to Maccorner, come to Kerrang, come to Cuna, come everywhere. You know, we want to try and cash in, and our shop windows, yes, they've been closed, but at the moment you can see little shoe shops popping up, bookshops popping up. It's fantastic, but we need to keep the momentum rolling. Okay, so how do we do that? We get out there and we promote the area. It's going to be hard in person, but social media is a big platform. Let's hit that hard. Let's get people to come visit here. Doctors, nurses, police, teachers. How do we get them to come to the Ganawara Shire? We need to get them here and keep them here. A bit like myself, I'm a case study for that, I suppose. I was only coming for 18 months, but here we are 9 years later, running for council. Who would have thought? Look, I just think my skills probably lie in communicating with people. That's what I have to do every day. Difficult people, friendly people. I think I've got a good knack of dealing with everybody. And the list of candidates here is strong. And I don't think there's anyone here that I can't work with. We all want the same thing. We all want the Ganawara Shire to prosper together. I don't have any allegiances. I've been here 9 years. I don't go generations back. So I'm happy to work with whoever the community want to vote in. And I just want now to put my case forward that if you a vote for me is a vote for the future, and I'm looking forward to getting stuck in.
Thank you. Thank you, Travis. Thank you. Our final, but certainly not our least, not our last, but not least candidate is Jane, who is the 7th candidate, Jane Ogden. And I introduce Jane to our audience.
Thank you very much, Rob. Hi to my fellow candidates and to our community members. And thank you to the Gannawarra Times and the Kerrang District Community Centre for this opportunity. I'm running for council because I love living in this Shire and what it offers all of us. And I want to be able to serve our community by using my experience working for council and the Victorian State Government. I understand that if you vote for me, I will be a voice in council for our community. So I therefore want to use my people and communication skills to get out into our communities and listen and plan together what projects we all see as important to our future here in the Gannawarra Shire. My message is a positive one where we work together, the community, council staff and councillors, for what we want our present and our futures to look like. Councillors have an incredibly important role as your representatives, and it is essential that we all understand that councillors are part of the Gannawarra Shire community. They live in the Shire, and they and our community need to walk alongside each other to achieve our shared goals. There are a few issues I will advocate for if I am elected for 4 years to be part of a team of 7 councillors, and they are supporting businesses to grow by tapping into business development programs, especially because of the consequences of COVID-19 and the downturn in business. The ongoing development of Ganawara's nature-based tourism, opening up more opportunities for creative activities for all ages and bringing back live performances once we're all able to be COVID safe. Supporting our health providers to bring more and needed services to Ganawara, especially at this time. Support of projects for young people that build their confidence and life skills. And I'm curious about whether council is able to be part of what's called a circular economy to help save money and our planet. And we'll research this more, as it seems to be a positive way of recycling, reusing, saving money, exchanging waste as a resource, and includes imaginative ways of not using plastics. My experience working for the Gannawarra Shire Council started in 2006.
37.
And as a councillor's role is to work as a conduit between council and the community. My experience means I understand how council operations and council staff work, and that councillors need to engage, connect, listen, discern, communicate and collaborate more with our community. We need to keep our community informed and ask them for their help and ideas. We cannot do this important role on our own. Together we can thrive. Thank you.
Thank you, Jane, and thank you to all candidates for your presentations this evening. Now, you'll all be engaged in this session of questions, and we will be asking questions of most questions will be directed at most councillors, but the first question we're going to hit is is from Andrea, and Andrea has asked Jane, our final candidate speaker. She is interested to understand what Jane's role in council was previously.
Thanks, Andrea. I have worked in many roles there, most recently as a one-year contract on a maternity leave contract as the coordinator of community engagement, where I worked to do with community grants, write grants, supervise our communications officer, and also had a lot to do with setting up the online community grants platform called Smarty Grants, but that was back in 2017. I've also worked in roles in acting land care coordinator. I've also worked in events, a bit like Yvette. I've worked in events role there, and yeah, basically in community development way back in 2007.
Okay, thank you, Jane. Now, this is a question from Stephen to all the candidates in the Patchell ward, and I want you to be brief with your answers if you could. To all candidates in the Patchell ward, we live 30 kilometres to the east of Kerrang on a farm. How are you going to engage with all of us? Now, who would like to start? Don't all sing it at once.
I will.
Thank you.
Is that me you got there, Don?
Kelvin, yeah, thank you, Kelvin.
Yeah, well, I spoke to Steve the other day, actually, and he was the one that suggested to me that we have farmer forums. Well, that's what a great idea. Let's go with it. Let's get it happening.
Yeah, thank you, Kelvin. Any other comments in relation to that question from Patchell candidates?
Sure, I've also spoken to Stephen. Yeah, look, unfortunately, we have the COVID thing at the moment. It's been really difficult, and we've even found that with our council meetings too. But it'd be really great if we could get out there in some way and actually talk to the people more. And farmer forums would be fine. I think it's a great idea.
Okay.
I think that the farmer forum's a great idea.
It is.
Yeah, me too. And farmer forums as well as just community forums for at least annually, if not more.
I just look at it in the fact that I'm out with the farmers a fair bit anyway, and I do hear a lot from farmers. We also have a lot of farmers coming to our business, so we get a lot of feedback from them, and also we deal with them when we're out there talking about things. And by having that touch with the farmers, I can then bring that into council.
I just would like to add we're a whole community, and it's not just the farmers, it's the business community, so we need to be part of that. We need to be able to visit the Progress Association and just in general engage with the community, but it has been quite difficult.
Thank you, candidates. There is another Patchell ward question. I will ask people online to ask questions of the Murray ward candidates as well, because they're here as well, and we'd like to get some questions for them. This is to all the Patchell Ward candidates. Do you know what industry is the largest employer in that town? It sounds like a bit of a test. And if so, what would your plan be to promote future opportunities? A lot of you talked about the promotion of industry and different facets of the economy. So who'd like to start?
I'll start. With the industries in Kerrang, you've got the Dunstan industry, you've got the Kerfab industry, you've got Lips industry as well. All these industries are industries that can grow. Unfortunately, and I don't know the circumstances behind it, but the Shire did actually put out for a solar system on the airport, which I don't know whether they actually hooked into the industries in Tate Drive to see if they could get some cheaper power through that system, or whether they just gave it to them so they could ship it straight to Melbourne. But they are areas that we need to look at. Is power is one thing. Our communication systems need to be looked at, because I feel that we're actually being left behind. And also the businesses we need to actually approach with our business development officers need to actually talk to these people and bring to council what is actually needed to improve them.
Thanks, Rodney. Anyone else from the Patchell candidates?
I believe that Ghanawara is going along pretty good. I really believe that the economic development officer has been going all out over the years to get business here. He's worked his butt off to get those solar farms up and running. He's done a very, very good job there, and he has attracted a lot of business, and I hope he continues doing it.
And I believe that the biggest industry is agriculture, and alongside health, for the amount of people that are employed and the amount of money that goes in and out.
Any further answers to that one? Because we'll go to...
yes, please.
Yep.
I'd like to answer.
Yeah, thank you.
When you say thank you, is that me or is that the...
Paul.
Yeah, so I'm not aware of which is the largest industry, but I would imagine that retail is quite large. And I think what was most disappointing was to see the council not really going to bat when Target was about to close. And so I would actually like to see a notice of motion calling on a master plan for the major retail sector. And also, I think we need to be speaking to major retailers to try and get a Coles here and to get a Kmart here. I just don't think we're doing enough there. And I think that would be one way forward. And I think the idea of power is very important as well. I'd love to see us putting a feasibility for nuclear power. It's just something that the nation is not looking at, and we need to be sustainable going forward with approaches to power that are cost efficient and sustainable, and maybe a regional community like Kerrang and Gannawarra can be the test case for something so crucial to Australia's rebuilding.
Thanks, Paul. And Jenny, did you have something to say in relation?
Sorry, absolutely. Thank you, Rob. Manufacturing. We have a few manufacturing manufacturing industries here that are doing rather well, due for rather large expansions, and of course, council's facilitating that in extending Tate Drive and the industrial centre here in Kerrang, as well as looking at Kahuna and I believe Leachville as well. Also, hospitality. We have quite. That is another growth sector that we could do really well, especially in the Patchell ward. But I mean, once you get onto council, you're serving Ganawara, so yes, as well. So over the whole of Ganawara, and the amount of people that visit here is, I think if you're just a normal person in the community, you don't realise the amount of people that pass through and actually visit. So little niche industries are probably a really good way to go as well, because I'm not sure what you people do, but normally if you visit a town, you always go and buy some little trinket, if it's for your grandkids or your kids or yourself. So those sorts of industries are really on the up here.
Thank you, Jenny. And we'll leave that question there. We think that I have received a text, and we think that the council itself is the biggest employer in town. And people can shout out and say that's wrong, but I believe that to be the case. We will go to an overall question for all candidates, and this is a very pertinent question for this council election. How can council become more open to their in their decision making and feedback to the community? Now, perhaps one of the Murray candidates would like to respond.
I'd love to, unless you want to go first, Ross.
Yeah. Ross is next.
I think one of the, I guess, benefits that myself and Jane and Andrea in the Yarran ward have is that we've worked in local council here locally. So we've seen inside the belly of the local government beast, so to speak. And there are a lot of silos. There are a lot of silos between the departments within council, and there are a lot of silos between council and the councillors themselves. And I think that that is a big problem. And I think that it means that a lot of the information that goes to the council staff doesn't get passed on to the councillors, and a lot of the information that the councillors get in their decision making isn't the full spectrum of the information that could be available to them. I think that transparency, and a few of the candidates today have mentioned transparency, but I think that's so crucially important. And I think that there's a lot of issues with council believing that transparency is a way that they can protect themselves, or a way that they can make decisions happen faster. And they believe that that benefits the community. But in reality, that doesn't benefit the community. What the community wants is to be heard and to have their say. And we need to improve those processes. So to me, there's a lot of changes that can be made, and a lot of positive change.
Thank you. Now, next, because this is a very pertinent question, so I'd like to hear a few views. How can council become more open in their decision making and feedback?
You there?
Community? Yep, go for it, Travis.
So I really like the idea of the council meetings being on the online, so everyone can have a look. So you got nowhere to hide there. If someone's got it, and hopefully when COVID finishes, I encourage people to come to council meetings and ask questions. I know in the past, some members of the community I've spoken to have felt they've been let down and had their questions sort of brushed aside and not had their voices heard. But I encourage people, come forward. And if you don't see, if you can't get to council meetings or whatever, and you see us in the street, ask us questions. I've never knocked back a request for a chat with anybody. So ask questions and get the answers.
All right. Thanks,
I believe that council has been very open and transparent, because the only time that public are not, they go into camera to discuss matters of financial tendering and that sort of thing, about stuff they're going to buy, and they've got to have a in camera a meeting of confidence in dealing with the financial side of it in their tendering. And but apart from that, it's been open. The ordinary council meetings are open to the public at all times. And in the 8 years I was on council, it was quite often to have quite a few spectators sitting there at your meetings, and any who wanted explanations, they had question time. As long as they told the mayor that they wanted to ask a question, they had the opportunity to ask it and to get a reply. I believe that council are pretty open, but I also go along with the idea on this Zoom meetings. I reckon that's a great idea for anybody to be able to just go in and from home and and watch the council meeting.
Thank you, Neil. Next.
Yes, I agree with Neil. I think the council's been fairly open. We put things out to the public all the time. unfortunately, there's a lot of things we don't get any feedback on. And I love the Zoom. And I think we all need to learn a little bit more how to do it better. It's another learning curve. But I think we're quite transparent. As councillors, you only make decisions based on what you know and what's given to you. And the things that we make decisions on is done by the amazing staff at the Shire. They just blow me away. Some of the talents that we actually have on our council staff, they are amazing. So kudos to them as well.
Thanks, Jenny. Paul, you might have something to say about this too. Paul?
Yes, thanks for that. I won't comment too much because I'm not that aware of Ghanawara at this stage, but I think similar to what a lot of other candidates have said, community consultation is very important. I think over communication is very important, and I've not seen a lot on social media from Gannawarra as yet. And I have seen, obviously, from the Ganawara Times, but yeah, it seems to be a bit limited. And also the idea of the question time, that was a bit controversial, the way that was changed. I think we need more democracy and transparency rather than less. But yeah, I can't really judge. I haven't observed that much from the council. I guess the main concern, I don't want to make it too much about COVID, but I guess everything does reflect COVID to some extent. This council did seem to go into hiding very quickly when restrictions were happening, and there didn't seem to be a lot of advocacy for the community at large. So I think now that we know that it's not really that serious an illness, we need to start advocating on behalf of the community rather than just cowering in fear and listening to the state government.
Thanks, Paul. Just one more candidate, please, on this particular one.
Can I make a comment?
Yes, Rodney.
Yeah, well, the way I've seen it from the outside, I feel that the councillors have been railroaded into decisions by not getting fed the information that they need. And I think that needs to improve in a lot of the in council side of things. It needs more information supplied to the councillors, because I feel that they're getting railroaded into decision making by other people, and that's not the way a council should operate.
Thanks, Rodney. One further comment on this, because it is a very pertinent area that we're covering.
Can I just quickly say, I'd really like to understand from the community if they are expecting councillors to be doing more. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry. Yeah, if they're expecting councillors to be the ones that are going out and doing the community consultation, are they expecting staff to do that? Because I know staff do as much as they can, but I also know that staff are working flat out just getting projects done. So I wondered if there's anyone that wants to tell me if they think that it's the councillors that need to get out and do the community consultation, or are they expecting it to come from staff?
Wouldn't it be a combination?
I think it is. It's just sometimes when people go council, they talk about council, it's like, what does that represent? Is it the councillors that it represents, or is it the staff, or is it both? Because I know that, yeah, I know that councillors have to do more, and I know that we communicate a lot of information out there, and I know that we've got to engage more as staff as well as councillors, but I feel like I'd love to just really, I suppose, understand or help people to understand, or help us to understand, if I'm a councillor, what it is, how we can work better, because I know we're doing as much as we can when we can, and we certainly, as I said, need to work together and have forums and have Q&As so that people really can get a chance to ask to and fro with staff and councillors.
Yeah, thank you for your responses, and I'm sure that we could go forever on that particular question. something else has just come up on chat from Liz to everyone. If I ring to speak to a councillor or their department, I would like a straight answer and not be told various different things. An example of that is from the top. The CEO has never passed my question on to the relevant person with my concerns. So I guess that is an issue for council as it sits and for the council staff to deal with. So that's about process more than anything. So it is important to engage either singly or as a whole council, including staff and councillors to the community, and also for the community to talk to council, of course, because how will they know what's got to be done if that's not the case? We've got a question from Stephen. Can all candidates speak on how they will deal with disagreement amongst councillors? But I guess this is a fact of life, but would a candidate like to talk to that?
Yeah, I will.
Thanks, Travis.
I'll get a go.
Look, I think when you have a diverse range of people on council, they all bring different skill sets and different ideas, and you're not going to agree with everybody. But it's how you go about it, how you can work together. Like I don't know the first thing about farming. You know, my background is I'm a city slicker who knows about business and finance and now other things. I don't know much about farming, but someone else on the council will be an expert in farming. So it's utilising the skills that each individual will bring and collaborating together as a team, respecting each other's opinions. We're not going to agree on everything. We're all humans, all have different opinions, but it's how you work together for the greater good.
Okay. Anyone else on that one? And then we're going to give Ross the floor because a fellow candidate has asked to hear from Ross, and I think it's due time that we heard from Ross. So anyone else on that particular?
Yeah, I would like to speak.
Yep, Kelvin.
Yeah, well, if we're going to be councils and we're going to be sitting at the table talking, there's going to be things we don't agree on. But at the end of that meeting, you've got to stop back and talk it out and be man enough about it. We shouldn't be walking out of them council meetings angry at other councillors. We're all in there to do the one job, support our community and be a voice for them. So at the end of the meeting, stop and have a talk. That's the way you stop the infighting.
So all be mates, Kelvin.
That's about it. We're all there for the same reason.
Yep.
I'd just like to add to, you sit at council and we're not experts in a lot of the things that we make decisions on. We have experts in the council that come to us, planning experts, engineers. They come to us and they give us advice on how we should do things, and we discuss it. And at the end of the day, we do it on what we're given. And then we make our own decision based on what we think, if we have enough information. And sometimes we actually have to put aside what we feel, because feelings can get in the way and they're not always 100% accurate. We can feel something, but we actually have to make the right decisions for the whole community, not just the select few.
Thank you, Jenny. And now we've all been waiting for it. We're going to hear from Ross, and I'll ask him the doozy question. How would you deal with disagreement amongst councillors, Ross?
So, look, I agree with what everybody said there. We will have disagreements. We will have different opinions on things. We need, as a group, and every group needs to do that, is focused on issues and not personalities. So Yvette and I can have a disagreement about something, but we should be able to discuss the issue, have that disagreement, and then move on and not make it personal. You should never make an issue personal. If you start to do that, you've lost traction everywhere you go. I also know that the council has a code of conduct for councillors. So one of the things a new council should do, first up, is have a look at that, make sure it's relevant, make sure you all understand it and abide by it. And we need to, ensure that our meetings start with that. These are the issues. Let's focus on issues and outcomes and not personalities. We are all different. We won't always agree. But if you focus on the issues, you can get somewhere.
Thank you, Ross. Have you got anything else to say, Ross? Because everyone's very keen to hear from you.
No, look, it was interesting. I see the question about, the largest employer, and they talked about it being the medical and health industry, and we do. It is a big employer, and there is great opportunities. I had a new person come into Golden Murray Water, and they said, I asked them where they're going to live, and hope they'd live somewhere in Ghanawara, close to Kerrang. And they said, no, they were going to go to probably Echuca because their wife worked in aged care and she could, work in Echuca or Shepparton or somewhere like that. I said to them, we have multiple opportunities for people in that field in this area. Kerrang's got it, Cuna's got it. There is aged care right across our region. We do need to promote that there's opportunities for people and growth for people in those sorts of things. So I understand what that person was saying. There's great opportunities in those things, and, tourism, building infrastructure. Neil talked about rail and road access. We've got that. Our opportunities there. We have to get out and get into those business groups and get them to move.
Thank you, Ross. Yvette summed up one of our main questions very well. She said on the chat, our diversity and different experiences in life are our strength, not a weakness. Well done, Yvette. We might go to health now. There's candidates in either ward want to talk about health and what their feelings are on health in relation to standing for council. There was silence. No one wants to put their hand up. We've got some questions on the...
we're unsure about who wants to go first.
Yes, it's very difficult. Would you like to go first, Yvette?
I can, yes.
Thank you.
I just sent Mandy a personal message because I think she missed it when I was talking about it when I did my introduction, but I think that health is really important for this region. I have some personal experience with that. I had my son here locally and had some complications after that and had real troubles getting access to doctors and specialists, and it was really scary for myself and my family. And I think that that's something that needs to be addressed. I think that we're humans and we have a right to medical care when we need it and when we need it most. And we've got such an interesting mix of people within our municipality, and I don't think that all of their care is being met at the moment, despite the fact that we've got amazing medical facilities. So part of that is council, and I think that council can really encourage doctors and medical professionals and people to come to town, and Neil mentioned it and I thought it was great the way that he spoke about it. Yeah, I think that there's a lot that we can do better, and Mandy mentioned health equity, and I'm more than happy to pledge my support for anything that council needs, well, that the community needs from a health equity point of view if I got onto council.
Thank you, Yvette.
Can I say something on that, please?
Thank you, Neil.
You've all heard me say that things could be done. I'm going to throw an idea in. I've never written it down, but it's put into conversation. Our problem is getting doctors here. All right, we get them, we get locums, they're here and they're gone. If we could get permanents here, this is what we want. And I'm just throwing a suggestion in. I believe that doctors are one of the highest taxed professions around. They pay a hell of a lot of money in the dollar income tax. If we could talk to the government, the Fed government and the taxation department, if we could get GPs that come to the that would come to the country where we've got the facilities, like say we've got the facilities like we've got in Kerrang, if we could get them to come here on a much lower, permanently, and live in the area and give them a big deduction in their taxation, people have said to me, we'd have busloads trying to get up here.
That's a really, really interesting, Neil. Do you see that, Neil, and other candidates as something that council can do? Like, well, certainly they can lobby the state and federal governments, and I guess they wouldn't. They lobby the taxation department via the federal government. But does everyone else see that as something that could happen?
Just one thing. There's an old Chinese fella said, "Trip of 1,000 miles takes the first step."
I'd definitely be backing that. And I also, in particular, would feel strongly about our mental health services and how much we need that, again, particularly because of COVID-19, which I do feel is not just a slight health problem, but a big health problem. And I know we've been very, very lucky up here, thank goodness. But it has affected us on many levels, and a lot of people have been out of work and they've needed mental health services. And even though we've got the possibility of Zoom meetings to do with meeting mental health providers, it's very important that we can, just get more services to do with health in the Ghanawara Shire.
Thank you. Anyone else on that one? I do have a further question. How will candidates ensure that they represent the whole of the Shire and not just their ward? Who would like to respond to that?
Yeah, I will.
Thanks, Kelvin.
Well, how we can do that for the whole of our Shire is when we're sitting in council and someone else is putting up a proposal for their area, you vote for that on its merits. If you think that's a good thing, you go for it. If you don't like it, you put up an argument against it. But if everyone's agreeing, it'll get through. So you've got to sell what you want to everyone else in council. That's how you got to do it.
And you've got to have the view, Kelvin, that you're representing the whole Shire, not just your ward. Is that right?
That's right. So if they put up a good argument for their area, I'm sure the other councillors will vote for it. And that's how it'll happen. So you got to all work together.
All right. Anyone else on that?
Yep, I would.
Thanks.
I think, we do want to represent the wards that we're voted into, but we also understand that we're representing all of Gannawarra, or we should. And we need to ensure that, the limited money we get, the funding we get, is spread equally so that all our residents share in some of that. So, I want to support the Murray ward, but also want Ghanawara to grow. So you can't just focus on one issue. You've got to look more globally than that and try and keep an open mind and be fair. So
each is good for the other, I guess.
Yep.
Can I just ask you probably said a good segue, and I know Neil, I'll get you in a sec, Neil. A good segue is we've had some comments on the chat about McConnell, and I'm interested in, I'm not aware of the issues there, if there are issues, but one of our attendees got really excited when McConnell was mentioned twice. Has any candidate got anything to say about that little town?
Yes, I would.
Yeah.
When I was a councillor many years ago, I was involved in the McCorner with the piggery. I was also had to go and represent the Shire at the Anzac March in McCorner. And it's very disappointing to look now at McCorner, the way it's actually just shrunk. I know when the piggery was going ahead, there was talk of building another 12 houses in McCorner to support the piggery. So there is opportunities to actually put businesses in the corner area and then get housing development in the corner to actually support those businesses. And that's what needs to happen.
I did see a comment.
Rob, could I comment on that?
Yes, certainly.
it seems to me that there needs to be some discussion or forward planning about how land is allocated in that area, and maybe even rezoning or compulsory acquisition, because there's a lot of vacant land and it seems to be underutilized land or land used for ways which are not beneficial to the surrounding community. So it's a bit like Rodney just mentioned. It is disappointing. I think a lot more could be done there, and it's disappointing for the residents that live there and want to make a future there.
Thank you, Paul.
The biggest,
right, Neil, did you have something to say?
yeah, I believe that our biggest problem in Ghanawara and many other shires, and I agree with Paul, your ideas, Paul, about land redevelopment down at the corner. The thing that stops us is bloody water. I was told 30 years ago, 35 years ago, the day that they unbundle the water from the land and sell it to developers, to speculators, is going to be the downfall of farming in the areas. And it's just proved right. Until we can get water, guaranteed water back, we're going to have a big battle. Rod will have trouble. I'm sure that Rod's customers, if they could get a good supply of water, we'd see a different outlook on the whole area. Just take a trip over to Kahuna and see what unbundling and taking water away from just the land between Kerang and Kahuna. It's a disgrace. Very disappointing. But our water, we need water, and we want that Murray-Darling Basin thing ripped up and drawn again.
Neil, we're not going to talk about the Murray-Darling Basin. That will be here all night, so we're not going to do that.
Yeah. I know. I'm out.
I've done many forums, and that's been the basis of all of them. I'd like to direct candidates now to the something that interests me, particularly with the Ghanawara, was nature-based tourism. Quite a few candidates have mentioned it. I think, from what I know, and I'm an outsider, I live in Swan Hill, but I would see that there is massive potential in those lakes that you guys have got, and in nature. So, who would like to start?
I'm happy to.
Yes, go for it.
Well, we've over in Kundruk, they've built glamping tents that are nearly ready to be opened up to tourism. And it's absolutely stunning on the Gunbow. There's been a new bridge built from Kundruk over to the island, over to Gunbow Island, and walks that are just magnificent. And so that sort of thing, it's a start, and that certainly with the Kundruk Wharf as well, which is absolutely stunning. And that whole area that's been fixed up. What's the best word for it? I can't think of the word. But that
Restored? Renovated?
Yeah, renovated is good. I like that. Thank you. Yeah, so it's just the most stunning part of our world, and as you say, the lakes as well. And I imagine that there's more plans that our economic development manager is working on as well. But that's for that to keep going, to build that for our tourism would be absolutely magnificent, especially as it is nature-based and it's not an Echuca type of tourism. It's right there amongst the red gum and on the Murray and on the Gunbow. It's just
it's
stunning.
actually real, Jane, so that's good.
It's real. It's lovely.
Who would like to speak to nature-based tourism?
Yep, I could. Yep.
Look, I'd like to just put forward that we've also been working on quite a few projects at the back of Kerang and walking tracks linking up Reedy Lake and Lake Charm. And the council is working very, very hard to advocate for this because we have to work with other state departments, obviously, in cultural heritage, and it does take some time. It's not a very quick fix, but there are some exciting things on the go for the future. The local land care group is doing some amazing things and put forward some really wonderful propositions.
Thank you, Jenny, and bird watchers as well of the nature variety, of course. So there's opportunities there as well.
Yep,
with the wonderful wildlife and the birds and so forth.
Are you asking me, Rob?
Oh well, I'm asking everyone, but
yes, there is, and also for kayaking and boat launching as well.
We have anyone else on Kerrang nature tourism?
Yep.
And I guess the key is tourism as well, is promotion of those assets as well. Kelvin.
Yeah, well, I think, Kerrang's been left behind. There's a lot of concentration on the Kundruk area for nature-based tourism. Our back swamp area here, the levee bank and that, there's 100 people walk that every day, and it's beautiful out there. And there is talk of linking to the lakes at the moment. But yeah, we've got to think of this area as well, that like we're going to spend it in our Ghanawara Shire. Let's do the equally in all the areas, because we've got a great spot out the back here to link up with nature tourism.
Oh, it's good. It sounds like real potential. So we'll leave that there. Very interesting question from Wright to everyone. Yarran Ward candidates were asked last night in the forum last night about their thoughts on the CEO and executive. And I guess this is not I'm not sure that anyone will even respond. Not living in our Shire, approximately 700,000 K in wages is not spent in our Shire. Thoughts? Anyone want to respond?
Yeah, can I respond, please?
I'll
respond?
Paul, you're first.
Yes, Rob. So I guess having been a councillor for a sort of suburban council, it's very common that a CEO does not live in the municipality. So that in and of itself is not a concern. However, the concern is the potential for the CEO to be claiming travel costs and costs of accommodation whilst in the town. I'm concerned about that. I don't think that's the best way forward.
Good point, Paul. Rodney, were you next?
Yep. Yeah, what I thought was that we should be asking these ones that are actually employed by the council where they live. What has that got that we haven't got? And maybe then we should bring that to the area, because they've got to be not living in Kerrang because they like somewhere else. So if they like somewhere else, what's there that we haven't got? And if they're working for us, then they should be actually working to get that here.
Is anyone else? Thanks, Rodney.
This was brought up quite some time ago, and one of the interviewers the council were very, very definite. They were wanted to ask the income or the candidates for CEO position about demanding that they live in the Shire. We were told on good advice that to make that demand, you're going against all private rules, and the council could only get themselves into trouble if they tried to introduce that in. So it was dropped at that time like a hot spud.
Yeah, and there are difficulties in stipulating different rules. Although it is a poignant point when you think that the CEO of the council is one of the highest ambassadors of the area, and if that person doesn't live in the area, then it doesn't say much. Anyone else on that? I think we'll leave it there. Is there any? There's quite a few comments on the chat, but I'm not going to actually relate to the comments. We will cover those in the paper. Just see if there's any other questions. We have had some questions around the reinstatement of proper question time in council. Has anyone got any Any candidates got any view in relation to that?
Yeah. Yeah,
Who we got? Kel?
Yep.
Kelvin.
Yeah, I think it's vital we reinstate the question time, that you actually get up to ask your question. And if they can't give you an answer that night, you should receive an answer in writing. I've asked questions lately in council before we come in this COVID, and I got one-line answers like, no, it couldn't happen. That's it. They weren't answers. We need proper answers.
Thank Kelvin. Anyone else? Thanks, Kel.
Yeah, I think it's important that it is reinstated, but it's only not happening, isn't it, because of COVID? At the moment, you can email before the council meeting and ask a question. But as Kelvin says, it's so much better when you're there and you can be part of the whole thing. So once COVID restrictions are dropped, then definitely be fantastic to get question time back in.
And is that planned, do you know?
Well, I think I don't know. No, I don't know.
Yeah, so that's something that our Jenny and Andrew can check into. It was interesting, Mark said to everyone that the Fair Work Ombudsman provided advice to council that it was appropriate to make living in town a prerequisite. So, and I guess it's up to the councillors who choose the CEO to work to that as well. The public asks questions to the mayor and the mayor should pass it on to the councillor. I'm not sure I'll go to that one. And there's
Can I say something?
Quite a few comments. Travis.
I think from some of the people I've spoken to out on the street, they're a bit disgruntled that they may have either emailed councillors or the mayor and not got a response at all. And I don't think that's quite good enough either. Like, if the person's taking the time to ask you a question, how good or bad it is, they deserve a response. And some of the people I've spoken to haven't got that response, so their disgruntlement with council increases. So just take the time to respond to the person and alleviate any other sort of problems later on.
Thanks, Travis. Obviously, that's been a bit of an issue, and it's a bit of it's not just an issue for council, but it's an issue for all businesses, particularly during this time.
If I could just make a comment, Rob.
Yes.
So people are aware, if they go onto their website, and I realise it's difficult to send an email through that way and CC councillors, that it actually goes into a system that has time limits on answering those particular inquiries. So it is the most appropriate way for you to get your answers as timely as possible. And it is actually monitored. And to date, I think it runs at about 90%.
Okay.
So I think it's just a matter of the community knowing how to get the best results too sometimes. And maybe we haven't solved that very well either. It's something we can look to in the future of making people aware that these things are there for them.
Okay. Thanks. Thank you for that. That's an insider answer. So that's really good. Transparency has certainly been one of the issues tonight. I think we'll leave it there. Unless there's any other questions, we might leave it there. We've been going for about an hour and a half. I'll just see if there's any other questions just before we finish.
Can I just make a comment?
Yes, Kelvin.
Yeah, well, if we are elected as councillors and we get in, there is a chance we can rescind some rules that have been brought in and bring it back to a practical council again. That is not hard to do. So if we get in, we can all discuss what's going on and we can make things work the way we want it to.
Okay, thank you, Kelvin. There is one final question. Who amongst candidates will move a motion to change local laws to put transparency, the word of the night, back into council? And that's to all candidates. And this will be our final question.
I'll answer.
Yep.
What I consider is the council councillors are elected by the community, and I think that we need to actually run the council in that respect. We don't need to be railroaded by people in council. We need to take ideas from what they put up, but then we need to make decisions on how the council runs. And that's one thing I am standing for.
Okay. Anyone else on that?
Yeah, Rob.
Yep.
Look, I agree with that. We in essence, we don't work for the council. We represent our constituents, and that's our role. So we should be prepared to be open and transparent to those people, and we should be able to, as I said earlier, stand behind the decisions we make. Now, they won't always be exactly what people want, but we should be able to have had robust discussions and have all the information, and then we should be able to give people answers they need to at least show them what we've considered all of those things that they're asking and answer the questions. If we can't be transparent, we shouldn't be going into council.
Yvette,
I agree.
do you have anything?
I agree completely with Rod and Stano.
Thank you, Neil. Yvette, did you have anything to say about that?
Well, I agree with Ross. I think transparency is so crucially important. I think that if you're making decisions behind closed doors because you have that power as a council, then there's something crucially wrong. I don't think it should be like that. I think you should be able to justify your position and be able to give out any information that is relevant in the decision that has been made and why that decision has been made. So yeah, I feel really strongly about transparency.
Thank you, Yvette. On that point, we will leave it there, and I'd like to heartily thank all of the candidates that attended this evening and all of the people that have joined Zoom to listen to this pre-election forum. I'd also like to thank Megan from the Corangan District Community Centre. Thank you, Megan, for being the muter.
Thanks everyone for joining.
And thank you to Jenny and Andrew for their work in relation to this as well. And all the very, very best to all of you for this local election. Thank you.
Thanks, Rob.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Yes, thanks everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thanks, Ross.